Dear students, welcome to today's class. Let us enjoy Granny's Tree Climbing by Ruskin Bond. Let us learn something about the poet Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond was born in 1934 in India. He has written many books for children, some dealing with his own childhood, others dealing with the lives of contemporary Indian children. Ruskin Bond spent his childhood at his grandparents' house in Dehradun, where he grew up in the company of a number of pets. In class 7, dear children, you must have read Monkey Trouble, in which Ruskin Bond tells about the mischiefs of Tutu, the female monkey. He developed a deep love for nature, which is evident in most of his works. The poem Granny's Tree Climbing has been taken from An Island of Trees, which is a collection of short stories and poems dealing exclusively with Bond's love for nature. Let us read the poem. My grandmother was a genius. You'd like to know why. In the very first line, the poet tells us that his grandmother was a genius. In the same line, he asks the readers a question. You'd like to know why? Obviously, everyone would like to know. Because she could climb trees. The poet tells us that his grandmother was a genius because she could climb trees. Spreading or high, she'd be up their branches in a trice. Whichever type of tree it may be, whether spreading in width or in height, grandmother would reach up in the branches in a trice. It means she could reach the branches of each type of tree very quickly. And mind you, when last she climbed a tree, she was 62. Now the poet tells us the age of his granny when she last climbed a tree. She was 62 years old when she last climbed a tree. Before going to next line, let us consider some valuable points here. First of all, in the first line we see you apostrophe D. That means you would. Then in the third line we see she apostrophe D. Again contraction has been used by using apostrophe. It is she would. Let us talk about the rhyming words. Y and hi rhyme with each other. You and to rhyme with each other. In this way, the rhyme scheme comes up to be A A B B. For deeper knowledge about rhyme scheme and rhyming words, you may refer to Poetic Devices, my YouTube video. The link has been given in the description box. Ever since childhood, she'd had this gift for being happier in a tree than in a leaf. The poet tells us when grandmother was a child, she had this gift of climbing trees. Let us consider this line once again. She apostrophe D. After that there is had, past participle of has or have. So she'd here stands for she had. She had had this gift. Let us read the line once again. When the grandmother was a child, she had this gift of climbing trees, for being happier in a tree than in a leaf. She used to feel happier in a tree than in a lift. Otherwise, in real life, we see children enjoy going in a lift, but grandmother felt happier being in a tree as compared to a lift. And though as years went by, she would be told that climbing trees should stop when one grew old. In childhood, it was all right, but as the time passed and she grew old, people started telling her that she should stop climbing trees. They said climbing trees should be stopped when one grew old and that growing old should be gone about gracefully. People used to tell her that one should grow old gracefully. It does not look graceful that an old person climbs up trees. She'd laugh and say, "Well, I'll grow old disgracefully." She would laugh and say, "Well, I will grow old disgracefully." It means indirectly she told the people that she could not stop climbing trees. It was acceptable to her that she would grow old disgracefully. She said, "I can do it better," and we had to agree. Grandmother used to say that she could do it better. It means she could climb the trees better. And we had to agree. The poet and his family had to agree, for in all the garden there wasn't a tree she hadn't been up for one time or another. The poet's family had to agree because in their garden there was not a single tree which she had not climbed once or twice. Having learned to climb from a loving brother when she was 6, she learned climbing trees when she was 6 years old, and her brother taught her this art. But it was feared by all that she'd have a terrible fall. Family agreed that she could climb trees better, but still they feared that some day she might have a terrible fall. The family feared that she would have a terrible fall, but the outcome was different. While we were in the town, she climbed a tree but couldn't come down. The outcome, the result was different. Once, when the family was in town, she climbed a tree, but unfortunately, she could not come down. We went to the rescue, and then the doctor took Granny's temperature and said, "I strongly recommend a quiet week in bed." Later, we rescued her from the tree. The granny was helped to come down the tree. The doctor was called in. The doctor took the temperature and said, "I strongly recommend a quiet week in bed." The doctor recommended that Granny should take complete rest for 1 week. We sighed with relief and tucked her up well. We means the poet and his family sighed with relief. They felt relieved, they felt relaxed because they thought that Granny would stop climbing trees now, and they tucked her up well means they made her take rest in bed properly. Poor Granny, for her it was like a brief season in hell, confined to her bedroom while every breeze whispered of summer in dancing leaves. On the other hand, for Granny it was a brief season in hell. because she was confined to her bedroom while it was summer season, and in summer season the breeze whispered of summer and the leaves were dancing. Let us consider the position of Granny. She felt that she was in a hell, and the summer season is compared here with hell because summer season is the best season for the people, those who enjoy climbing trees. Summer season and hell have been compared, so here we can find the use of simile. Grandmother was confined to her bedroom while every breeze whispered of summer. Breeze cannot whisper and leaves cannot dance. Here we can see the poet has used the poetic device personification where